Hey, Calvin here. Today's episode is one that we recorded months ago after the untimely death of Chadwick Boseman. I delayed his release so we can honor him for Black History Month because Black Panther was released during Black History Month, and it amazed me to see how many people of all races flocked to theaters just to come out inspired by the fictional country of Wakanda. Chadwick is gone, but his legacy will live forever. Thank you, Mr. Boseman.
Hey, welcome to the Straight Up Show podcast. We just finished our superhero tournament where the winner was Spider-Man. So I mean that was kind of crazy, but we told you all we're gonna touch back on a subject, and that was about the passing of Chadwick Boseman, aka the Black Panther, aka James Brown, aka Thurgood Marshall, aka some of everybody. Just can't he plays everybody. But uh, joining me today is our guest from this episode, Dazzmond and CJ. How you guys doing today?
What's up? What's
Love him.
up?
Dude, I'm glad that tournament's over, man. That was some of the most stressful. Man, forehead sweating, just palm grease.
I'm
Oh,
still
I'm just
mad at
glad
all
it's over,
y'all.
man.
All y'all, I'm the host, so I'm only supposed to vote when I need to. But all three of y'all had opportunity to save Batman, and none of y'all,
I was just about to say that.
none of y'all saved Batman. And
See,
it's like,
see,
it's not Lee's fault. Y'all had
That's
the
why I was
opportunity.
like, what have we done?
Like
okay, all right. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. I know we're gonna focus on Black Panther soon, but we gotta explain ourselves. Okay, so for me, all right, obviously I was riding the Superman. Okay, I knew it was either gonna come down to Batman or Superman, or so I thought, right? So when I seen that Batman was being taken off the board, the fact that Robin would be the one that advanced, like Robin is a very complex character. Like that is a well done character if you include every single iteration. So I wasn't mad at the decision. Like, I And let's
it,
be honest, we knew Robin wasn't gonna make it all the way. Let's just call
yeah,
a spade a spade, right?
but
But Soup was up for grabs, man. Soup was in danger.
I'm just, as a somebody on the outside looking in, I'm like, man, there's no excuse. He had opportunity to make it, but y'all just kicked
If
my boy out.
Brandon wasn't anti Superman, I would have went all in. But I knew what I was up against, man.
You know,
and I'm not the biggest Superman fan myself, but I felt like he needed his proper due, just like I felt like Cyclops needed his proper due.
Mm.
Um, I didn't want to just dismiss him. Oh, he's a Boy Scout. No, he's a little bit more to it than just that. But I, I was shocked when Batman got.
I
I thought
think
somebody else was gonna save him, but
no, man, y'all just and Lee got both of y'all, man. So big shout out to Lee for just
Oh man,
for
and
producing this
Brandon is really yeah. Go ahead.
and
he changed the game.
And Brandon, yeah, and Brandon,
All of them changed the
because
game.
Brandon was sea salty. He's just like, man,
Yeah, that's kind of what motivated it. The whole Superman focusing on Superman and just letting Batman go.
Man,
but I don't know who said it, but I don't know one of y'all was talking about Cyclops and he was like, man, you have a nuclear bomb in your eyes. I'm like, dang, that is kind of deep. You got a whole bomb in your eye. Like, I was
Yeah,
like, okay,
I said that quoting Wolverine talking about giving Cyclops one of the few compliments he's ever given him.
he's like, I took your girl, but
Listen
anyway.
to your girl.
But
oh
anyway,
man.
man, that was a good time. But I'm glad y'all guys enjoyed the tournament. Thank y'all so much for participating. And if y'all keep listening to the show, we're gonna come up with some more stressful tournaments. If y'all have some ideas, definitely hit us up at all our social media platforms. You can go to our website at www.straightupshowpodcast.com. Make sure you stay active. Use the hashtag Straight Up Show Podcast. because we will give out exclusive and free items. And I have a coupon for free pizza. So stay on, I get that monthly somehow. I can't tell
Ooh.
you how, but stay tuned, share our products, and you might get free pizza. Just saying. Anyway, so we're back into it. And like I said, we are coming kind of. I don't want to be sad no more because I mean he's past at the time of this recording he's been gone for a couple months. But it's just like I'm gonna say
Yeah.
it like I mean, and I talked to y'all outside the show, but I was really riding for Michael Jai White to be Black Panther. I don't know why. I just saw him as Black Panther, and even on one of my friends' other podcasts, we had talked about black films, and I was like, man, like the only American black actor that's really working so much is Chadwick Boseman, man. Like, because
Yeah.
if and like because it's like either is British American or British black actor or Chadwick Boseman, British American actor or Chadwick Boseman. Like there's never no like because like there's no Blair Underwood or Morris Chestnuts or you know what I mean? Because like in the '90s, them guys were like big, but now they're just like
Right. Right.
it's like British black guy Chadwick Boseman, Jackie
Yes.
Robinson,
It's
James
funny
Brown,
you mention that, man. It's funny you mention that because like when we first got the news and we all chopped it up in our group chat, like it just showed how limited the playing field is.
Oh
Like
yes,
how
yes.
hard it was for us to come up with possible replacements. Like it just shows how thin black cinema is, which was one of the reasons why Black Panther resonated so huge in the culture.
like
Yeah,
and
because
sorry,
before I even have to give some props to like Tyler Perry. You can argue about the quality of
Quality.
the films that he creates. Black Panther was shot on the lot that Tyler Perry has purchased. It's his in Atlanta, and
I did not know that.
he wound up getting he's risen to this kind of prominence because he's given black actors who don't get a lot of roles in Hollywood unless it's like I know a lot of people hate bringing this up. A lot of the roles that black people wind up getting in film is like slavery or they're a side character, supporting character, or just a walk on. You got the sassy black character, you got
Right.
the black team with the attitude and all that. Um, Being that we sitting there struggling and trying to find somebody to replace Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman sitting there playing Thurgood Marshall, Jackie Robinson, James Brown. Um, it is a very limited field out there, and and there aren't even that many. Forget all the other roles that aren't made available to black actors.
Right.
There aren't that many like black superheroes. Imagery is incredibly important, and you always usually have like a white male cisgender heterosexual who is the main protagonist. And Black Panther was so big because we got to see not just one single uh, superhero who's confident. You had an entire nation. That the whole Afro-futuristic um, genre been applied to the set design, being applied to the costumes. All that was an incredibly huge deal, and that was a moment. Chadwick Boseman being the one that can hold that role down was huge,
yeah,
and
and
they'll
it
never be back again.
Yeah, and it was really huge. And then, like, one thing just you learn so much, about people when they're gone. You know what I mean? And that goes to show what kind of person he was because, I think what took all of us by surprise, we didn't know he was sick.
Mm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he held that from everybody, which, you know, I mean, some people, because even when I saw the Five Bloods, I was like, man, he's playing an army guy, but he's a little scrawny to be playing like this is kind of hard to believe. But like, if you watch the movie itself, it's kind of like these old guys are going back in the past. You have to watch it, but it's like they're playing them younger selves, but they're actually the older. Like
Yeah.
It's hard to, yeah, does it make sense? Like they were going back as their younger
Yeah,
selves,
like a
but
flashback.
they were actually still their old. They were still in their old bodies. You know what I mean? So, but Chadwick Boseman still looked as really scrawny and young. So I was like, man, you look kind of smaller than usual. But when that happens, but like just to know that, and then the whole he did a Jackie Robinson Day, that live Instagram live, and he hurried up and took it down because people were questioning, why does he look so scrawny, and and people were judging him like the internet does, how people
Yeah.
are. And you never knew what he was, but that goes to show you. But I say that to say this because um, I found out just even on Black Panther, they had the ceremony, and he said that we shouldn't have these people just standing here, like chanting. We should have them actually moving around, like so them dancing and stuff. He put that he wanted that to be incorporated within that movie, like when he became the king or he's fighting
Yeah.
them dancing around and moving. That was his put. He put that in the movie because they were just sitting there chanting and not moving around. And
Yeah,
so he's
he
like,
was
no, make them.
suggesting that in order to make it more authentic,
Yeah,
we borrow from certain East African traditions, and
Yeah.
let's look into what movements, what choreography they were doing, and let's implement that into this scene to make it a bit more authentic.
yeah, and I'm glad that he is because I would say, well, not in a disrespectful way. He was the token black actor, and not in a bad way, not in a bad way, but I'm glad to say that he is the token of what black representation is for this movie because I think we had a guy on our show, and that he said that he spoke to a Korean friend of his, and that Black Panther was the first time he saw that black people were in charge. He was like he's like in his 30s. I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, in his 30s, and you just now seeing imagery of a black people in charge because some people really don't know that black people used to be kings or are, it's not used to be, are kings and queens. You know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
even talking to the people that do our graphics, shout out to our friends in Pakistan because the graphics and animation you see, that's from Pakistan. They had to hurry up and educate me about, well, Pakistan is not all dirt and desert. You know what I mean? And then he went on Facebook or on Zoom and showed me the outside of his house. I'm like, are you in New York? No, that's Pakistan. I'm like, wow. And so that goes to show my ignorance, but other people's ignorance about Africa, that there are some people who are dark skinned, probably richer than Trump and probably richer than the most people you see in
Right.
America, but you would never hear about it because there's this stigma in the world that if you're black or you're dark skinned, you don't matter.
Just to touch on what you're saying, Cal, um, that goes back if we go back in time, that goes to the quality of stuff that's black related. Like, obviously Black Panther wasn't the first black superhero film,
Yeah.
right? But I will say that Black Panther was probably the first one that was given like legitimate credence that this is a major release. Like, I'll say Blade got that to a certain extent, but only because it did numbers, and it got its sequels. But obviously, if you look at Steel, Meteor Man, right?
Mhm.
Like, those are exactly right. Like, you just
Blank
giggled.
Man.
Like, Blake Man, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love all those movies we just mentioned. Right? Well, Steel, sorry, but oh man, but yeah, but like those movies, let's be honest, they wasn't considered blockbuster level. It wasn't considered an A movie, a A-list movie. Whereas right out the gate, they let you know this movie is like this is not just gonna be a B-list Marvel movie. Like, no, this movie is gonna be just as important as all the other movies that we've put out thus far. So I feel like that also played a huge part as into this shift, that the culture got, is that it was treated with the respect it deserved right out the gate.
And yeah, it was given a budget that was comparable to like all the other first release releases
Yeah.
under Marvel Studios, like a similar budget to like the first Captain America, the first Thor, and the first Iron Man, and it turned out to be the first uh, solo Marvel film that grossed a billion, because it took three movies for Iron Man to go to a billion. It took three installations of Captain America to make a film that grossed
Right.
$1 billion worldwide. And in fact, Black Panther wound up making more domestically than Endgame did. And that's huge because in Hollywood, you can talk to a lot of these. Gary F. Johnson, you can talk to Spike Lee, you can talk to all these prominent black directors, and to be able to get money, to be able to get producers and investors to invest in a black film, they're constantly told, well, we can't make this film because it won't make a lot of money. I'm sorry, but black films, they don't do that well internationally. And when you have several different films that buck that mold, like in fact, Sony, I think a lot of people remember Sony had a bunch of emails released. There was a hack, and a bunch of emails from executives at Sony were released talking about um, we can't put a whole bunch of money behind some film held by Denzel Washington because, oh, it won't make that much money overseas. And every time we have a film like Straight Outta Compton,
Yeah.
like Black Panther, that defies that stereotype. Uh, Black Panther was one of those movies that we get bandied about when you discuss it amongst mixed company as far as nerds, not just blurs, but all the nerds, particularly the white nerds. Oh well, the reason why they can't make a Black Panther is it just, it's, I'm not racist, but people are just not going to respond that well to, it's going to be in Africa, and you know how that goes. And lo and behold,
Right.
we get this. They they put significant money into it. They put quality um quality actors
Yeah.
and just the whole shebang into it. They invest in this film and it made bank.
They
And
gave it
then
a fair shot.
yeah, and then the nerds, those same nerds, you hear them go, well, it's kind of suspicious that it made this much money. Why did it have to make this much? Because it's black? Yes, because for years people were underserved and they were
Yeah.
starving for representation. And guess what? They
We
showed
finally
up.
got it.
And
Finally got it.
that's kind of like when it comes to politics too.
Exactly.
Because 2016
Yeah.
did not
Yeah. The
show up.
Obama effect. Yeah.
Didn't show up, and we all know what happened. Uh, but it makes a difference. So and that representation is very big, and um, like I think that to me he was a good character. I mean, he was a good actor, and um, just he to me is just, and I think I saw this on Jimmy Fallon or somebody on ABC News said this, but even when he played Black Panther, he just had that swag about him. Just he did it like effortlessly. He didn't overact. He was
No,
just,
no, of course not.
and because me, like I said earlier, I was like, I want a Michael Jai White. Now I know how Michael Jai White acts, and he's not the best
He's not
actor
that great of an actor.
at
He's
all.
great when it comes to fight
Martial art,
choreography.
yeah,
Something else I wanted to add. Part of the reason why we kept bringing up people like, anytime there's a black superhero role, we keep throwing around the same five names: Idris Elba, Michael Jai White, Wesley Snipes. He's not that old, and, uh,
Ah!
and that's part of the reason why, after seeing how great he was in the Jackie Robinson film and Get On Up, um, I knew he could carry it.
Yeah.
yeah,
But they gave him the opportunity. There needs to be, hopefully, there's more opportunity brought forth for more black actors in different roles, not just limited to
yeah.
black superhero films.
Yeah, because I mean, like even just doing my, because I think one thing about super, because and some of y'all don't know, me and Dazzmond are cousins, and I mean, I know Dazzmond used to beat me up if I used to touch his comic books, but but no, like, but
Did I?
Dazzmond had That no, you didn't. Nah, but no, you definitely made a threat because Dazzmond had like a red treasure chest, like legit treasure chest, for the comic books, and
It's
it
a
was
trunk.
like trunk.
It's
To
like a
me, is
luggage trunk.
I thought it was a treasure chest. I'm sorry, but I mean, it was man. I just remember the iconic treasure chest, and like if you can think about any comic book, Dazzmond had it, and so it to me is like at the time I didn't read a lot because reading is fundamental. Reading to be fun, but anyway, I didn't read the comic books. I never understood why Dazzmond loved it because I think the key word was escapism. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And and I'm kind of mad at myself for not getting into comic books, Dazzmond. Anyway, but no, because like just
Comic
even
shop was
like
right there.
yeah, we couldn't touch it because you have to. You know how comic book people are. You can't you
No,
touch
the comic
any
book shop.
other
Like you could have went to the store and bought them
uh
yourself.
well if I couldn't take yours, I didn't want it. You know what I mean? You know how kids were. If I can't take yours, I don't want it.
Wow, it doesn't have that same
Yeah,
off to it.
yeah, but no, but like I think with the evolution of superhero movies, what makes me want to go and this is like any movie or like even like with Selena and stuff like that, like any documentary about somebody else's like, there's a backstory behind it, like with Selena, like go back and listen to her music and like hear her struggles about this or like same with comic books. To me, it's like with comic book movies, it's like well, Black Panther, where does the story come from? Like, what is this? And like, who is T'Chaka? Who? Oh, but wait a minute. And like, so people are like, even right now, people don't even know who T'Chaka is. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, yeah, and like they know from him from like, what was it, Civil War, right? Then that was the first appearance of T'Chaka.
yeah, that was the
Yeah,
first
Civil War. Yeah, so Civil War,
in the
T'Chaka,
MCU.
but
Mm.
because
Oh,
me,
the movies. I'm
In the
movie,
sorry.
yeah,
MCU.
yeah, MCU, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like, no, but my first time hearing about T'Chaka was on BET, and T'Chaka beat up Captain America. I'm like, dang, I didn't know he like beat up Captain America. Captain America came over there and like got jumped, and like I was like, dang man, and like to me, I was like, I was really in love with T'Chaka. I'm like, man, and so to hear who T'Challa, like, who is T'Challa, like, and so it's like, oh man, so it makes me go back and thank God for Google. You don't have to really get a comic book, but you can see all these stories and read all these stories, and like I think one of the things that I think Marvel should do when it comes to black actors and black superhero, not just with black superhero, but other characters outside of the normal that people know, which was like to me, I was telling Dazzmond about I didn't know who Blue Marvel was, and I was like, let me go back and see who Blue Marvel is, and then I'm like, wait a minute, like who the hell is it? This is a black superhero looking like Frank Mitchell with a you know what I mean? I'm
Ah,
like,
No, he should be played by the All-State man.
oh yeah, hey, I'm cool with
wow.
that. But no, but like he's an older black guy and he's a superhero, but you have probably never heard of him. And
Yeah,
I'm
Adam
like,
Bashir. He grew up during like a time of segregation. As a matter of fact, he was supposed to be a hero who, during segregation, who had to cover his face up. He worked for the government, and they was like, you have to cover your face up because race relations. You got to do it for your country. And it's an interesting story. But
but
I feel like black people didn't really read comics, so they didn't really see themselves in it. So they felt
right,
like it's like a response to rejection. Instead of it's like a defense mechanism. If you don't want me here, I don't want to be where you are anyway. Representation, imagery.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why all this meant a lot. I mean, I don't want to ever lose sight of the fact that Chadwick Boseman was a real person who, you know, his life is so much more than just this
no,
one role.
oh
He
yeah,
leaves behind a wife, his parents, and all that, and all of his contributions to the arts and to the humanities. Like he had cancer while visiting children who were terminally ill,
mm,
and
The grit to do that.
yeah,
Because it's like every kid that you see is a reminder of basically where you're gonna be, either years or months later. Like,
mm,
think about that, right? Like, think
giving
about
those
that.
kids
Like,
hope.
this is, yeah, man. Like, despite, going through your own troubles, like, bruh, like, I mean, that is the definition of courage.
Straight up, we know that all lives matter, but historical events have shown that there is an inverse power dynamic between the races in our country. To highlight this, we present our Black Lives Matter merchandise, because let's be real, some of you don't seem to understand that this isn't the organization, but a message. That message: end inequality towards minorities in America. And just in case that's too complicated for you in English, we have the phrase translated into 10 different languages. Visit straightupshowpodcast.com for this and all our other merch. That's STR8 showpodcast.com. Shirts as low as $19.99.
But man, and to me that is definitely courage, and like some of the things he said was inspirational. That's why I wasn't really hard on him at all. Cause my man, you're like, cause me, I hate on actors a lot. Cause me, my biggest pet peeve is I hate not hate people, but like I hate the idea that more Black American actors can't get roles. You know what I mean? That is my
Yeah.
biggest pet peeve. And for the longest time, I was mad at Chadwick for getting all these roles. I'm like, man, and like people say, well, it's maybe he's just that good of an actor. Yeah, he's that good of an actor, but I mean, there are so many other actors who can like get that opportunity
Your,
outside of
your anger
Chadwick.
should be at Hollywood, not at Chasmic. Don't be mad at the
No, no,
worker. Get
yeah,
mad
yeah,
at the
no, I'm not. I'm
the
not mad at the
system.
worker. No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the worker. But
It's
it's
the
kind of like
system that's
it's a
saying we can't
system.
hire more people. We
Yeah,
can't give more people roles. We can't give Black people more diverse roles. That's what the system is doing. And I feel like the success of Chadwick Boseman and of Black Panther kind of I get what you're saying, but
yeah.
like the anger shit is
It's not. It's
misplaced.
not. It's not at Chadwick. It was like man, like because I really thought Thurgood Marshall was light skinned. So I was like, how is
No, he
Chadwick?
was. He was like
So I was like,
skin
And
how's
so
Chadwick?
was
complexion.
so
Chadwick
was
isn't even close to Thurgood.
and so was Denzel Washington playing Detroit Red is what they called him. Denzel Washington can be described as red.
Yeah,
We,
I
we
know.
got red bone people in our family. We know
Yeah.
what red look like.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
That's
I was
very
like,
true.
wow. But not, not and kind of like same with Kevin Hart. People get mad at Kevin Hart because Kevin Hart getting all these roles. I'm like, well, but and people forget even with Chadwick Boseman, like people forget like these people grinded. Like Kevin Hart,
Absolutely.
like Kevin Hart was
Especially
doing.
Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
did
man.
direct to tape movies all the time. I knew about Kevin Hart from
That
Paper
paid in
Soldiers.
full.
Yeah, paid in full, paid in full. I was like, I didn't know about it. Then 40-Year-Old Virgin, and I'm like, oh, that's Kevin Hart. And all of a sudden, like, boom, blew
Right.
up.
So
And so,
And that was literally like a side
oh
role,
yeah,
like what,
it's just so
5
funny.
minutes, 2 minutes, that was it.
Yeah, he was
Man,
in one scene on 40-Year-Old Virgin, and bam, there you go. Same with
one
Chadwick.
scene.
And Chadwick
One
went to a
scene.
summer camp paid for by Denzel Washington, and all of a sudden, like, for it to come
Yeah.
full circle, And to me, if y'all can't remember anything about Chadwick Boseman is two things. One, always remain humble, like, because I think if I can disagree with Hollywood with giving him all the roles, I can't take away that he was a humble person, like CJ said. Definitely humble. Knew he was dying and still gave. And like to me, to hide it from your coworkers, especially filming Black Panther, like that shows a lot of grit because I'm like, man, how hard was it for you to actually do the stunts that you probably were doing? You know what I mean? And like to muster up that strength, have surgery, and come back and do it again. Like, and granted, I've actually been on a Hollywood set before. Like you can do one scene for like 9 hours. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And it's like,
oh
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
All those takes.
and it's like all those takes. It's just like, all right, do it from this angle. All right, do it from this angle. I'm like, man, because I was on Straw Dogs, Olympus Has Fallen, and a Lifetime movie. I'm like, damn, man, this is for one scene.
Yeah.
Like, and you watch it on a movie, it's like 30 seconds. I'm like, wow, this is. But I mean, so I can only imagine the toll it was taking on his body. And I'm not saying I could be just wrong for this, or maybe it's just time to go. But maybe him working himself so much that could have been a downfall. You know what I mean? I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not. I could be wrong, but he still wanted to give, and so to me, he
You
made
know,
that.
it's two
You'll never
ways you can
know.
look at that. Yeah, none of us will never know, but it's two ways you can look at that. It's the way that you just mentioned, Calvin, or you could look at it from the perspective of he knew that his time was limited, so he wanted to maximize his minutes.
And
He
all
wanted
our
to
time is
use
limited. So he
Yeah.
exactly right. But in his case, like you get that feeling like your body is shutting down, right?
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, instead of just letting this happen, right? Let me see what I can get done within this time period. Like once he got that,
The diagnosis in
that diagnosis
2016.
from the doctor, exactly. We've seen it in all the movies, right?
It was,
Once the
and
doctor,
after that, it was Marshall, the Five Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Those are the
21
movies he was.
Bridges.
I think he was already done with that by the time he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer.
Wow.
So
Okay, gotcha.
Well, like I say, live your life to the fullest. I mean, we all can learn from him.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Learn a lot from him. And another thing that you can learn from him is that if you are, and it's not even acting, keep working hard. And I gotta tell this to myself. I don't want to be hypocritical, but you keep working hard because the work you're putting in right now, it will pay off. And it's hard to see it. Trust me. I ain't like I said. I ain't trying to be hypocritical because actually before we got on air, I was talking to CJ and Dazzmond about it. Like I'm not seeing the bigger picture, but I believe if you do work hard, because I mean, Dazzmond, you know where I come from. So I mean, if you put the work in, it will pay off. I don't got much, but I know where I've been at, and I don't want to go back. And the hard work, if I keep doing it, you can make a difference. And so we hope we can make a difference for y'all listening to us today. But we hope that people like Chadwick Boseman, who made an impact through entertainment, has impacted you, and you can just share his work and show his work ethic and take what he went through this year as a life lesson. So
I put a post up today, and Chadwick is the epitome of this post. So it said, fight for your dreams as if it was the last TV in a Black Friday sale. So give it your absolute all. Like, don't
Right.
hold back. It doesn't matter who is telling you you can't do it or you shouldn't
yeah.
do it, right?
Hmm.
Trust your gut, trust your heart, right? And go for it, man. Understand that Chadwick, he died at the age of what, 43,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
almost mid 40s. So that would mean he was in his mid 30s when he was filming Panther, Infinity War,
And didn't look
Endgame.
like it.
Exactly, and didn't look like it, right? And there's always that stereotype that, well, if you don't get it
Black don't
popping
crack.
in your 20s, then that's it. Like, no, like
Oh,
let,
that.
let's get done with that fallacy completely. Like, it
It's
doesn't
never
matter
too
what
late.
the age, it's never too late.
Yep.
Never too late. Sam
Yep.
Jackson, I believe his career didn't pop
Yep.
off until
His
he got in his
40s.
later years.
So his
Exactly,
40s.
right?
Yep.
When
Yeah, man.
he tried to hold up that McDowell's in
No.
over to America, his career just took off
I wonder. I
Right?
wonder. Nah, he actually was in a movie
from a
before that.
crackhead trying to rob a McDowell's
Like,
to
Oh
can we
man.
can
to
we
Nick
just stop?
Fury.
Can we stop for a second? This man has to have the Guinness World Record for most features. Like he has to.
At this point,
He
like
has to
him and
have the
Morgan
record.
Freeman are running a race, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
Sam got him.
Nah, I
I
think
think
Sam
Sam
got
got
him
him.
because I'm like, you think about
Yeah.
all the movies this man has been in. Like you probably can name about 30 that he's been in, and it's like, wow, man, he was in
Yeah.
there.
He's up
He be
there,
working
man.
hard for real.
It's,
Sam be getting it in.
I know I keep going off a
Sam.
tangent, but CJ,
Dude,
I didn't know
Sam,
about him, and I never watched Jungle Fever. But man, I can't believe you showed me Jungle Fever because
no,
every
oh,
time I
Daz,
can't
he
stand.
didn't know about Gator. He didn't know
Dated.
about Gator, man. So
Did
I
not
had
know
to
Yeah, I
about
might
step
Gator.
revoke
in.
my black card because I don't think I've seen Jungle Fever either.
Man,
Oh,
Dazzmond, you
I
was
heard
looking.
all the jokes about it. Now I
No,
remember
man,
all
no,
the Jungle Fever
no.
jokes. They got Jungle
man,
Fever.
Oh,
But
well,
I
well,
ain't
man,
seen the
Daz,
movie, dog.
no, man.
get ready. Check
Tell
in
me
with
about
us
Gator
soon.
though. Go on, tell me about Gator.
Do it, CJ.
Well,
Do
look,
it. Do it, CJ.
after we done with this, I will definitely send you the gift. Matter of fact, I'll send you the link. You got to see the actual clip, but it's hilarious. But
And
man, like,
you would look at Sam Jackson and Halle Berry. It's so different.
Oh,
bruh. So, all right. So in Jungle Fever, Samuel Jackson and Halle Berry play crackheads. They play they play crackheads. Now, granted, Halle Berry is gonna go down in history as the finest crackhead, right?
Because
But
she has multiple roles as a crackhead, by the way.
man, bruh, Sam Jackson's performance as Gator. So the scene I'm gonna show you, like, So towards the end of the movie, all right. So Gator, he was trying to get some money from his mom. Like throughout the movie, he'd always try to peddle some money from his mom. Okay, and she'd give in to it, right? Well, this time, this was when she had enough. She said, "Enough is enough. I ain't gonna do it," right? And then, and then Gator. So he has this move he does. He calls the Gator dance. He always
Mm.
dances throughout the movie, right? And right before the dad was about to kick him out, he had turned to his mama. He was like, "Look, mama, I made this step." No, it was his dad. He was like, "Look, dad, I made this step just for you." And obviously I can't describe the dance, but bro, like his conviction to
Yeah.
that dance is legendary, man. Just give me
And
the money, mama. Give me the money.
you'd be like, man, Sam Jackson has range. 'Cause
Range,
I was like, man, this cannot be Sam Jackson, like,
range, man,
because he
range.
played that. I mean, he dominated the '90s, but still,
And see,
man,
it's funny you mention that because this is one of the first roles that me and Rob seen Sam Jackson in.
wow, no,
Like
I've seen him.
if you followed his career like from beginning, to
Mhm.
where it is now, this is one of the first roles you see him in. So, it's kind of a different dynamic for me. Like, I know he can do this.
Yeah, I've seen him in a lot of stuff, man. It's just like,
Man.
and my favorite movie is a black movie. People hate that I hate it. It's my favorite movie. But it's Menace to Society. That is my favorite movie, and he plays the dad in that movie. And it's just
That's
like
your favorite movie?
all time favorite movie,
I
man.
know
Like
I've seen
All
Menace to Society
time.
with y'all, but I can't remember it. Like I got to see it again.
Dazzmond. It is like legit, like the way we grew up. Well, I grew up in Bel Air. It's exactly how that. It to me, it reminds me of Greg. It reminds me. It just reminds me
Yep.
of. It's like, man, this is so relatable. Yeah, TJ, that's like my favorite movie ever.
Yeah, Menace to Society and Boys in the
Ooh,
Hood, like those two. That Juice, you can put that in
Calvin.
there as well.
Yo,
What if we did a bracket of all the hood movies?
Bruh, don't make my head hurt again. Don't make my
hey,
head hurt again.
Desmond, hey, if you want to be,
I'm
hey,
down for it.
I'm
I'm
down
down
for it
for
too.
it.
I'll do it. Hey, there you go. Hey, we
I'm
might
down
work on
for
the
it,
next
man.
hood movie. Hey, next hood movies. People say, well, hey, I think we can do it. I think we can pull it off. It might be a smaller
We'll have to
bracket.
get blood in, blood out.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it'll definitely be a smaller bracket, but yeah, we could make it happen. Like that's definitely an ongoing debate.
Yeah, and honestly, you know what? And I say I might this might be a popular opinion, but I watched Belly and I was not a fan of it. Honestly, not a fan of
oh
Belly.
yeah,
Same
that's
here,
you way
really.
out on a limb with that one. That's a
No,
classic. That should have been
I
nominated for an Oscar,
I
Best
agree with
Picture,
him,
Best
Calvin.
Director. Come on,
I
Calvin.
agree with Calvin.
Everybody
I
who's
agree. The
seen
movie was
Belly knows
trash.
it sucks.
I
Everybody knows Belly sucks. Come on, dog.
oh okay, never mind. Never mind. Okay,
Everybody
I was
knows
like
that.
The movie trash.
people
The only
people.
people who think
But
that Belly is a good deep movie are these hoteps, and I'm not gonna go in on it.
Yeah, my bad. Okay, well, yeah. So
Guys
hey,
wind up going to Africa and they don't even show one scene of Africa. They just show They just show a panning shot of downtown New York.
yeah, I was
oh
not cool with
man,
I mean,
Belly.
Africa is beautiful.
And I
man,
was
they
like,
didn't have a budget, man. They didn't have a budget.
this is what because people hyped it up. I was like, no, this is not. But to me, Lorenz Tate and Men's
Oh
Society,
man.
like it,
Oh
man.
man.
Let's just say
Oh
we're gonna do a
man.
tournament, but it's gonna be bleep 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 because there's gonna be some stuff in there. Anyway,
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
just being able to
Mm.
quote the lines from it.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to bleep.
people that killed your cousin in front of you, and you ain't gonna do nothing. You acting like a little trick right now. I'm like, Mike, oh my, that's like my favorite scene in the movie.
Do the BET edit.
It actually, fun fact,
Oh, you mother sucker! That's a whole
Smoke
different
you,
voice. That ain't even
Smokey, what the funk you want?
This ain't even enough. Make it enough.
I'm just glad. I'm glad. One actually, fun fact. You know, Men's Society is the most gory movie in America. It was like at the time, it was the most gory movie. Most scenes with blood in it. And
It got
I'm
some
about to
pretty
say it's
bloody
been a
scenes.
couple of
It
Quentin
does.
Tarantino movies since then, so I'm sure it ain't.
yeah. But I was like, wow, it's like a fun fact. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that Chadwick Boseman didn't do a like a hood movie, or
Mm,
because actually,
Honestly,
he's got
it
quite a
wouldn't
few
fit him,
movies out
man.
there.
It wouldn't fit him.
yeah, well, he
Like
said it.
he has range, but
Mhm.
honestly, I think that's the one role I couldn't believe him in.
He said he actually said that he wouldn't take roles like that because he didn't want to take roles that
Like
put it.
being a crackhead or a slave or something like that. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah,
But
because
he
he
might
did
have
it.
done a hood movie where it's I don't know, respectable. I don't
Yeah.
know what his respectability politics were.
Well, they said that on General
Hey,
Hospital, he didn't. He got fired from that role because
all my
Oh,
children,
my children, yeah.
all my
no,
children.
I thought it was
I'm
General
looking at
You
the
know,
Hospital.
Wikipedia right
the
now.
question.
My
The
children,
question that Daz got wrong.
2003.
To lose Cap.
Hey, it's over with. It's over with.
What?
It's
What
over with.
question I got wrong?
Nothing. It was right.
Oh man. Oh
Anyway,
man.
anyway, so I think yeah, no, because he was a General Hospital though.
I'm looking at all my children. I don't. He was in
All
Law
my
and Order.
children, man. All my children was a role where he had the knife up against the woman.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I was right
it
though.
was
No,
in a hospital. It was in
it
a
was in the
hospital.
hospital, and Dazzmond got it wrong. I was right. Yeah, that's right.
Hmm
Yeah, my
No,
bad.
it
It
I'm
was.
sorry.
wasn't
Yeah.
General Hospital. It was in a hospital.
In a hospital. Yeah, but it's all my children.
And
Yeah,
so the daytime soap opera was All My Children in
yeah,
2003.
yeah. Because all my
Unless
children.
Wikipedia is wrong. That's what I'm looking at.
No, you're right. Yeah, Dazzmond got it wrong at first. My bad.
Yeah.
But
But
no.
I did see that interview where he mentioned like he didn't want like he basically was asking the writers what was the motivation behind that role.
Mm,
And it was the typical your mom's a crackhead, uh, your daddy ain't in the picture, right?
mm,
So yeah, he was like, I don't want to be the stereotype. And
mm.
I commend him for that.
Oh yeah, it says it right here. That same year, 2003, Boseman portrayed Reggie Montgomery in the daytime soap opera All My Children, but stated that he was fired after voicing concerns to producers about racist stereotypes in the script. The role was subsequently recast with Boseman's future Black Panther co-star Michael B. Jordan.
That is so true. Because Reggie was
That's
played by Michael B.
crazy.
Michael B. Jordan was Reggie. You're right about that. I forgot about that.
That is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Straight
Man.
up means to be able to speak in a way that is straight up, to be honest, and to speak your truth.
Raw, uncut, you know what I mean? It's blunt, straight to the point. This what it is.
It's just a place to be open and honest, and that's what I appreciate most about it. And it provides a place for community members to come together and just be straight up with each other about things that are going on in the world, because it affects all of us.
Unfiltered, raw, with all the cursing that Calvin does.
Straight up is just being real, telling it like it is, being you.
Being solid, being who you are, no matter what it is, no matter what situation you're faced with. All right, this is who you are. It really speaks to me, saying it is what it is and it ain't what it ain't. Straight up.
So definitely, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, and I don't want to keep out too long, but I hate that he passed away. Definitely a talent lost too soon. The 2020 has been a crazy year. So I just pray that people it won't hurt as bad this year. I mean, life is short, so I mean, we never know when your time's up.
Yeah.
So here comes the hard part of this episode. So do we replace him or no?
I don't think
Well,
I don't think you should replace him. I don't think you
Yeah,
should
I
recast. Is what I'm
agree.
saying.
I agree with Daz. Like I mentioned, in the tournament episode that his name is now synonymous with that character.
Right.
Like for better or worse, like however you feel about it, he will forever be Black Panther. Just like Christopher Reeve will forever be Superman. It doesn't matter how, as you seen, it doesn't matter how many people you recast that character with.
Mhm.
Christopher Reeve is the one you connect Superman with. You
Yep.
know? So
And as long
yeah,
as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in this phase, like they just ended the X-Men. The X-Men has been they're not at Fox anymore. The Disney has acquired the rights to a bunch of different franchises, but that also includes Fantastic Four and X-Men, which
Yeah.
means what I'm trying to say is if something like that happens with the current continuity in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yeah, I see recasting him. But as far as like I'm even watching Black Panther on mute right now. Like I said, as far as the importance of representation, and you have an entire nation and all that entire cast uh, of black women having agency. They weren't damsels in distress. There's a lot of stuff that like white people won't notice as far as like we as black people when we watch movies, we watch intently. What is this character? What are they gonna do with this character? And we get upset when they kill them off quickly, when they just use that character to just advance the plot. Black women were very well served in Black Panther, and I think they should continue
Well,
to do
sir.
that.
Well, sir. I
But
will go
pushing
as far
Fury
as to
as the next
say
Black Panther.
I'll go as far as to say that they were more important than Black Panther in a good way
Mm-hmm.
because they, yeah, like like not just in American society, but in Black society, right? It's like
Absolutely.
the
So many
woman
of our
doesn't get their just due, and they stole the show in that
yeah,
movie, every last one.
and that's why I believe they should. The Black Panther title is a mantle that can be passed, and I think Sherry should take up that mantle.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, they're in a unique position, right? Like, luckily, Black Panther is one of those characters to where it's literally a title. Like one person had it, and you pass it to the next person. So, in respect to T'Challa, right? That's the character you'll never replace, right? Like that will forever be Chadwick in this case. If they want to create either a totally new character or I don't know if there's a Black Panther past T'Challa, but then you could possibly look at recasting.
Right.
But as far as T'Challa himself, no, like that's done. That's a wrap.
Let me
Yeah,
ask you this now. Let me ask you this though. So could they do what Fox did with X-Men and take it back and they do a Black Panther but using the T'Chaka?
no, like I'm saying, like if this continuity, if they just start all the way over with a whole new Marvel Cinematic Universe continuity and recast everybody else, yeah, then cast T'Challa. But as far as like in this continuity, I say move forward, do some sort of story where he gets killed. I guess, and maybe look at how they did Carrie Fisher in the last two Star Wars movies. They have great technology to be able to you know do CGI Chadwick Boseman for a
Mhm.
little bit and put him in the astral plane. As far as like you know,
Yeah.
there could be some already recorded lines because like that like one of the statements that was released by Ryan Coogler, he hasn't even really started on the script, let alone
Uh-huh.
have they done any
Yeah.
principal footage or
Right.
anything. So they are in a good stage where they can stop for a couple of months, they
Mhm.
can heal from this loss, and then move on. And I still say, please don't in this iteration, in this continuity, don't recast this T'Challa. Just have somebody else take up the mantle, and hopefully,
I agree with Daz 3,000% that they need, okay, not should, they need to have Panther T'Challa's death represented some way in this movie.
Right.
Like,
tastefully.
it worked. Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, like don't do it as a cash in, a cash out or something. But Ryan Coogler though, I don't think that he would even think
Yeah.
about doing something like that.
But
But
I
Yeah.
mean,
but
to
do
me,
it. You can
sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this. I think having Shuri as a Black Panther, like the comics does have a
Yeah, that
female
happened.
Black Panther, but I think this would be monumental for two things. The first Black Panther, we had a positive male lead who was a
Right.
leader. Now you'll have Black Panther 2 with a Black woman in power. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So just imagine what Chadwick Boseman did for young black men as as charge. Could you imagine what Shuri would do if her as a Black Panther and see her leading charge and kicking butt and how many
That
young
I,
motivational black little girls they'll take they'll love
Yeah.
that.
man, that idea works on so many levels. Okay, so one, right? This is T'Challa's sister, right? So obviously, she'll feel compelled to take the mantle since her brother's gone, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, the actress that plays Shuri, right? She was one of the standouts of the movie, right?
Absolutely.
So there would be no objection to have her become the new lead.
Because that could
No
be an
objection
interesting story
whatsoever.
arc, a character arc.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So
And
it
she's
works
like
on so many levels.
the other level. This is the Marvel movies are basically Disney movies, and Disney loves their Disney princesses. You have a
What
Disney
man, come
African
on,
queen,
Daz. Talk about it, Daz.
and as an example of like she's in STEM. She's not just a comedic character, but she's also supposed to have an intellect that rivals that of like Tony Stark and
Right.
or Hank Pym and
Scott
what's
Williams.
Bruce Banner. So having that kind of example for young black women, there's this quote that I remember. It's you can't be it if you can't see it, and just going in what I keep reiterating, all these negative stereotypes and negative images. I believe that when you have imagery out there, it does something psychologically. It does something to influence the people who see themselves on screen. So taking this opportunity to influence young black women, they're already like a demographic that, given their percentage of the population, they are like the most educated or it's growing that they're becoming pretty much the most educated demographic in America. I would like to see that imagery out there.
I mean, quite honestly, I really don't think they have a choice in the matter because let's be honest, right? Black Panther is such, especially now, right? Is such a lucrative license franchise for Marvel now, right? That another movie's coming, right? There's no way
Exactly,
you
they
could
love
just
money.
scrap. Yeah, exactly. There's no way you could scrap the franchise, right? So more movies are coming. So now you got to make the decision of recasting the role or going a different direction. And once again, all the roads are pointing towards Shuri. Like if you want to talk about the route with least resistance, then Shuri is the easy answer here. Like I'm sorry, but if they try
I
to
legitimately, yeah,
recast,
go ahead.
if they try to recast it as another guy, then I feel sorry for that guy because there's going to be backlash.
Yeah, I don't think it would leave a good taste. I think it might be distasteful to do it. I think it wouldn't be. I don't think it would leave a good taste in the audience's mouth because I think it
Yeah.
would feel like we're just moving on. Um,
Yeah.
so and we're not just moving on, but we're replacing this person. And look
Absolutely.
at how people
Yep.
treated the idea. How long it took people to get used to the idea of somebody else playing the Joker after Heath Ledger died. There were people
Yeah.
talking about retire the
And
Joker
it's still
character. That's crazy.
yeah. It's kind of to me. It's kind of like they having that new Selena TV series coming out, and the lady that played Yolanda, she's gonna be hated
Yeah.
before she
Yeah.
even has a first
Well, yeah,
episode.
yeah.
It's not
Because I
that.
mean,
It's not
that
that
movie,
actor.
yeah,
It's not
it's
that.
just because Selena the movie is so iconic that it's gonna be very hard to try to fill those shoes. Like that's how the general public is gonna look at it. Like you're trying to fill those shoes. It's not necessarily doing that. It's just taking a different perspective. But once again, that's not what's on the minds of the general population.
Yeah,
Well,
because
we
Selena was a huge thing culturally for Latinx people. I
yeah.
think they've had some years though, but they still like if you show uh, some people that image of their woman who wound up killing Selena,
Oh
you
yeah, they're
make
gonna
people want to fight you.
already
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
Cause
yeah.
she better make sure she get like a blonde wig or something like that. Cause people, you know how people are. People are fanatics. Well, they should bring that show back on MTV. Fanatic. My bad. Anyway. So thank you, gentlemen, so much for lending your voices, coming on our show today. And always, you're welcome back anytime. Like I said, we had to show our proper respects. We did venture off the other topics, but this is all about Chadwick Boseman, man. Just for us to even be sitting here talking about you and your work and how people can carry on your legacy and your artwork, because I would love to see other black actors, black American actors, get opportunity to shine, Hollywood. And so, because we don't know how many more Chadwick Bosemans are out there right now, who are as, who are as humble and, thought provoking. And, I think the next person to me in America that's closest to Chadwick Boseman that's really killing the game right now is like Keith, I don't know,
Lakeith
like,
Stanfield.
yeah, and he, to me, I think him and Chadwick in that age group, and those two brothers, man, they have range, man. The Keith, man, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know if y'all seen any of his other work, but this guy,
Lakeith don't miss, man. He was incredible in Knives Out.
It's
Of
that whole
course,
Atlanta uh, cast, really, because you got Brian
yeah,
Tyree
oh,
Henry. He's great too. And
dude, oh yes, and all of them have range. Like
yeah,
if
yeah,
you look at their other roles, it's never the exact same role. It's almost completely the opposite,
and
and
it's to
they
me,
kill it.
and like I said, sorry, we can venture on a lot about, but just to talk about the genius of Donald Glover, and
yep.
2019, did y'all see what happened with what he did in 2019? They had Atlanta, and he made sure when Atlanta was ending, all of them had work after Atlanta. Like, I think at the time Atlanta the season ended, it was Han
Yeah,
Solo, and then there was Deadpool 2, and then there was Lakeith did a movie with Batista, I think.
Yeah, Zazie Beats and as Domino and
Domino
Deadpool
and
too.
Deadpool 2, and then I think Lakeith he had a movie with Danny Glover, but they all had work right after
nice.
the season's
Sorry to
over.
bother you. I had to buy that one. Sorry to bother you was great.
Yeah. And so, but it's just like, man, like they had work coming in, like, so I
Nice.
mean, kudos to me. That goes to Childish Gambino, who is like, hey, I'm a star, but I'm gonna share it with other people. Or I'm gonna make sure that other people get their shine too. So I mean, like, there are a lot of Black American actors, but man, just it's a small group out there. They're not as recognized. I know people they getting mad right now because they're about to cast the Black version of Golden Girls, and people like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah. I heard about that.
don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But I'm like, do you know who
Why they
Regina
blacking
Law?
everything up? Why everything got to be black?
Yeah,
Nobody asked
Right.
why there's so many white people on TV.
honestly, when I see the Outsiders, I really think they can do a Black version of Outsiders.
And said it in Cedar Grove.
But hear me out. Though. I really think they can
Oh
really get
man.
away with a Black version of Outsiders and put it with police brutality because you know
Oh,
because
Yeah,
Outsiders
yeah.
did have police brutality in that movie, but it would
And you,
make it would make much more sense, in this type of environment now. Because me, when I saw Outsiders, I didn't see white people. I saw Black people.
because I don't see color.
the concept.
The
Or
concept,
like
yeah,
the Warriors. Man,
the
like I like where we are right here because once again, you know, the big catalyst that Black Panther brought was uh imagery, like we see ourselves on this screen now, right? And I feel like, all right, now there's no more excuses, right? We've proven that we actually go to the movies, right? If you
We
put
are a
us in
huge
a
box
movie,
office draw.
we will go see it. We are a draw, right? So I
Other
feel
people will go see it.
now, yeah, yeah. So I feel that now that since there's no more excuses, we need to be more open about the idea of taking characters and flipping their races. Like I was perfectly fine when they flipped Electro up in Amazing Spider-Man 2, right? Like why not? That like as long as you can maintain the essence of what made the original great, then by all means do it. And uh I feel like that is what we're looking at potentially with this Golden Girls reboot.
And,
Like
and
and
the
also creating more original black things too.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
like I
like
said,
like
you can,
there's room for all of it. There's room for
yeah,
all of it at this point.
And part of the reason why we don't
and
have so much of it because we don't see it. It's harder to imagine, so it's harder to create new black things when you don't see so much out there and see a diversity of blackness out there.
Right.
and what made me mad was a lot of nerd people were mad because they wanted Gustav. They got to play Gus off of Breaking Bad. They played on what's his name? I forgot his name, but
Man, I can't say
he,
it. Hold up.
he's
Yeah, I
not
don't
even
know his
black,
name, but I know who
but
you're talking about.
he's like black Hispanic, whatever he is. But I'm like you get mad if he plays Professor X. Do you not know who Professor X is made out of? Like who Stan Lee imagined him to be?
That's
Like
not true. That's not true. But
that's
uh,
not true.
no, Gina, Esposito. I know that's his last name is Esposito. And if I can nerd off for a second,
Yeah, you're talking about a guy that was in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
yes, I can't pronounce his first name, but Juan Carlo Esposito, I think that's how you say it. I'm butchering this dude's name, but as far as like the Stan Lee thing, actually,
Yeah.
Stan Lee will sit there and admit that he just made mutants because he got tired of creating origin stories for people's powers, and he just said people were born with them. X-Men, he created X-Men. X-Men flopped. It had to be canceled. Then they brought it back, and then in the '70s, Chris Claremont started writing the X-Men, and he's the one who started doing the whole making parallels between mutants and racial minorities, social outcasts, and started giving Magneto that whole
Malcolm X type
terrorist,
of
yeah, Malcolm X, but to the point where he becomes like a terrorist, fighting
yeah,
for the advancement and safety of his people in extremist ways,
yeah.
and making Xavier more in the lines of like
MLK.
Martin Luther King.
Well, damn, that just kind of blessed my
I
mind
did
a
not
little
know that, man. Mind
Yeah,
blown.
yeah.
I got corrected one time, and somebody sent a link, and I looked at the article. I was like, yeah, oh yeah, I knew this.
Mind blown.
Okay, yeah,
Man.
yeah. I was sitting here thinking that, well, like I said, hey, this the philosophy of it, to me, I think it still says well, and I think, hey, why not have a black Professor Xavier? You
Yeah,
know what I mean, or
because
a black a black
the whole
Cyclops?
idea of having Esposito play Magneto, Magneto survived a racial cleansing, and unfortunately for human beings, for humanity, we don't have a shortage of events where people were trying to ethnically cleanse people, and you could have an event where you have somebody who looks like him. People like look at the genocide in Rwanda. He could have you could um, change the story of him being a survivor of the Holocaust as a Polish Jew to being from Rwanda, Africa, or some of the
I mean,
genocide pogroms in like South America.
yeah. Well, I mean, I can see it. I mean, I want to see more of it. I want to see more people like uh Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, yeah, that's the point.
Um,
Like, this is just the beginning.
the
Like
That's
now
the
we push
beginning,
forward.
and like I said, this is about Chadwick Boseman, but man, he's not the only one. Go out. I mean, I challenge all of y'all to just to see the gift. Just go back and do your history and see all the I hate to say this, yeah, some of y'all hate it, but Friends, that was a copycat. So you don't want to hear
It
it,
was a
but it was a
copycat of a
copycat.
living single.
Living single.
It was
Yep.
like this is successful. What
And
if we made
so
him white?
and people got mad about people spray painting on Graceland. Well, I'm pretty sure Jackie Robinson would be happy about that. Not Jackie Robinson, Jackie Wilson would be happy
Right.
about that. Do you not know the reference about that? Because Elvis is Jackie Wilson, So, but we have to show there's more than us. To me, when I'm a faithful Martin watcher. I watch Martin every single day, and I watch Martin. I forget sometimes he's playing Shanae. I'm like, oh, that's Martin because he's that good. He was that good, to play other characters and stuff like that. 'Cause I'm like, this is
Right.
Martin. Like, people of color have range. It's not just black people, Hispanic people. Look at Danny Trejo, who started off as like a drunk, in real life, and then become like a movie star in like his 50s. And so, never give up. But people of color, man, we're out here, and I think that our stories need to be told. Yeah, the hard stuff too, but there are people who are success stories, not just the corporate kiss ups. There's more people who are black business owners and black entertainment. Like, actually, one of my, like, I'm trying to get this with this guy right now, but there was a guy in Atlanta, and Atlanta is home of like black entrepreneurship. But there's a guy in Atlanta that I never seen somebody have their own media company broadcast, contracted out by the UFC. And like the UFC, the production team that you
Yeah.
see, that's by a black ownership.
Nice.
And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. And like, and to me, when I saw that, it's like, wow, he's leading this whole thing. And I'm like,
That's
it
dope.
just blew my
That is
mind.
dope.
And I'm like, because you don't hear about, black media market teams, and especially my career field. So I'm just like, it's possible. You know what I mean? And, you know, I think the more you see us, like, no disrespect to any of the British black actors, I give them credit. Like Idris Elba, he is great. The guy from Star Trek, not Star Trek, but Star Wars, even he's speaking up about black, the racism he received on Star Wars. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
dang, you
Boyega.
got, yeah. I'm like, I didn't know you. Dang, I didn't think that you would get, you're a star player in a Star Wars series, and you're getting racism. Like, didn't
That
think
don't
that would
shock
be
me
a
though.
thing. So
It,
what?
it doesn't shock me though because majority of the people who are the thing is that with Chadwick Boseman and all the other actors and all the other people who were involved with the set design and costume design and all that, they
Yeah.
had a lot of black people working in the background. You had a black director. This is encouraging people to be creatives, write, draw, act, dance, get out there and express yourself. Um, and that's what that for me. That's what I learned, and I feel like that's the legacy to take from Chadwick Boseman's passing because the day that we stop hearing this is the first black person doing this is the first black person doing that. When we start running out of first, and we can see ourselves in so many different avenues. I think that's a dream worth fighting for.
Right when it becomes the norm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and because I'm pretty sure, like, honestly, I know how people are. If, like, we get like another like black president. Well, Obama did it first, so what now? I'm like, well, okay,
It's not the
cool.
point, right? It's
Not the
like,
point, but that's gonna happen,
yeah,
and it's
man.
like,
it's
you
like you
know,
already had one. You don't need another one.
I'm like, yeah,
Do we?
yeah,
What?
Exactly. Yeah, like that's just like the whole Obama argument is ridiculous because like you think that just because we got one black president that automatically fulfills Dr. King's dream? Like
No, you
no,
get
like
one.
it's a start. This is the starting point,
like even
right?
with Kamala Harris, it's like, well, she's technically not black, she's Indian. I'm like,
Now, and who's saying that?
oh,
Who's policing who's black and who ain't black? Who
oh
doing that?
man, man, I'm like an avid news station Facebook troller. So I mean, just and it's to me, it's just like it doesn't matter if she's black, white. She's representing some people, and
She's black.
she's
You got people who don't need to be trying to police who black and who is black. Trying to
Absolutely.
say you ain't black. You ain't black. You can't tell me who's black who
and
ain't black.
for the people who don't like black, there's so many people getting in trouble for trying to be black. So I'm like, oh,
Oh yeah,
okay.
that white woman who was pretending she was black.
She ain't the only one. Remember the other lady that was
Rachel Dolezal
yeah. So I'm just like, I
trying
think
to say
Appropriation is
identify as
real,
black.
man.
y'all think black is cool now, but we've been cool. And we've been cool. I mean, so much so. I mean, and I hate to say this like this, but black, and I don't want anybody thinking that I'm just like anti-white or something. Like I'm not, but
Being pro-black doesn't mean you hate white
yeah,
people. I
yeah,
hate that. That's
yeah,
what
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Desmond said
Exactly.
it
You
exactly.
love yourself too much. You
Love
must not like
yourself.
white people.
Yeah, it's like
Being
yeah,
pro-black does not make you anti-white.
anti-white at all because my
And that
thing
says so
is
much about America that people think that.
yeah, and it's like that's not the thing at all. Because if well you're a Democrat because you're black, like, no, that doesn't mean I'm Democrat. Like that's don't put everybody in a bubble because you can't at all. Because me, it's like I think it like this. I don't know much about what happened with slavery because I was never there. All I can do is hear the same story that you hear plus a little bit more added on to it. I
And
wasn't
read some
there,
books.
and but we say that we can read them books. But because I mean, some stuff is probably still hidden from us. People, now I said this before all the time. People
That's
get
why I
mad
feel
about
like digging through the books, digging through records, that'll help us learn more.
yeah, and then I always say people get mad about you not standing up for the flag. Like I honestly get mad because as long as I'm living, I would never ever know my true last name. Like I don't have a family crest. Like because
Right.
and for those of you who don't get what I'm saying, you need to go deeper to figure out what I'm saying. And I from the stories I hear about slavery, it's like you gave us scraps and we turned scraps into a meal. And that's not that's the imagery of that is that black people are always getting scraps and we end up making it into a meal. You give us so little and we can do so much with it. Like, okay, you're gonna give us this role about this thug. Okay, what? Guess what? I'm gonna take this thug role, take it as an experience, and I'm gonna go out and get better. And look at Chadwick Boseman. Here it is. He didn't want to be a thug. Bam, got better. So you can keep feeding the scraps. We're gonna always prevail. Us three may die tomorrow, and guess what? What we do, somebody's gonna look at our legacy, and maybe you get better off of that. Like, man, we're resilient,
Absolutely.
like Dazzmond said, to the point to where we can stop being the first and be us. That's what people are fighting for, just so we can be an us in the U.S. And so, if y'all can't get behind that, that's why people are protesting. That's why people are sometimes stupidly rioting because they're frustrated. They don't have the hug. Like I wasn't really well technically in the legal system. I was an orphan at one point in my life legally, uh, but I was frustrated. Dad can attest because we lived together. But I was a young, angry kid, and I didn't know where to put that frustration at. So I
Right.
mean, just imagine that being people who don't have that comfort, saying, you know what, well things would get better. We don't have people. Some people don't have that. Like, well, things would get better. We don't have that. Luckily, I had my grandma, I had my family, but some people don't even have that. So just imagine before you so quick to judge them, look at their circumstances, look where they come from, and like the most dangerous person in the world, whether you're black, white, or whatever, is someone who has nothing to lose. That's the most
Right.
dangerous person in the world. And we don't
Right.
want anybody to be there because you have to accept everybody. You see somebody with a raggedy on a hole in their shoe, buy them a shoestring. You know, but it helps. It takes the community to get better, so we can turn the U.S. into a us. So I want to thank Dazzmond and CJ for coming on the show, talk about the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. We hope that you all join us, conversation. The Hood Tournament, the Hood TV show or movies coming soon. The Hood Tournament TV movies coming soon.
We're just gonna call
Uh,
it the Hood Tournament.
the Hood movie
Who will
tournament.
survive?
Who will survive? Hey, I still have hope that Kane survives in that movie because how is he dead and he's still narrating? So
His spirit, he in the astral plane, man.
no
They
man,
Look,
got
no.
plenty
we've
of
been
movies
talking
that
about Black
the
Panther
dead president.
all day today, and you've already forgot about the astral plane. Shame on you, Calvin.
I'm
Shame,
like,
sir.
I'm just like, man, come on, now, man. But no, seriously,
You don't
y'all.
remember the wise words by Method Man? I came to bring the pain, hardcore for the brain. Let's go inside my astral point. I'm sorry.
That is a Method Man reference, so make sure you all go listen to the Wu-Tang Clan. But no, thank y'all so much for coming on the show once again. Can't thank you enough for come and talk about black movies what it turned out to be. But we want you to join a conversation with us. You can follow us on all social media platforms. Make sure you use the hashtag Straight Up Show Podcast. You want for the merch, you want to join us on Patreon, go to Patreon, patreon.com/Straight Up Show Podcast 318. That's Patreon /Straight Up Show Podcast 318. Or go to our website at www.straightupshowpodcast.com. Until then, I am Calvin, joined with Dazzmond and CJ. But there's only one rule to our show is you gotta stay
Straight up.
Yeah.
When completing a long climb, one first experiences dizziness, disorientation, and shortness of breath due to the high altitude. But once you become accustomed to the climb, your mind opens up to the tranquility of the triumph. Oftentimes, the mind is flooded with realizations that were for some reason harder to come to when you were at a lower elevation. At this moment, most of you need some realizations because right now you have some big decisions to make. Right now, I urge you, in your breath, in your eyes, in your consciousness, invest in the importance of this moment and cherish it. I know some of you might have partied last night. You should celebrate, but this moment is also part of that celebration. So savor the taste of your triumphs today. Don't just swallow the moment whole without digesting what has actually happened here. Look down over what you conquered and appreciate what God has brought you through. God says in Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Graduating class, hear me well on this day. When you have reached the hilltop and you are deciding on next jobs, next steps, careers, further education, you would rather find purpose than a job or a career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. When I dare to challenge the system that would relegate us to victims and stereotypes with no clear historical backgrounds, no hopes or talents, when I questioned that method of portrayal, a different path opened up for me. The path to my destiny. When God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it. God will move someone that's holding you back away from a door and put someone there who will open it for you. If it's meant for you, I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it.